Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Brian F. here, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about the newly announced Street Fighter Pro League, a 3v3 team tournament series that's going to be running alongside the CPT this year. So in this video, I'd like to discuss what we currently know about the Street Fighter Pro League, its format, controversy surrounding it, community reaction, and my thoughts and opinions on what it can possibly bring to the table for the Street Fighter community. So the announcement for this new league came in the form of a Twitter post on Capcom Fighters explaining that there's going to be a new 3v3 team league for Street Fighter V Arcade Edition, and it linked back to a Capcom Unity blog post with more details about it. The blog post goes on to confirm that the Street Fighter Pro League is going to be a separate event run alongside the CPT 2019 season. Based on the post, here's what we know about the format so far. This first run of the Street Fighter Pro League is specifically only for USA. The league will consist of 6 teams of 3. The initial 6 members are going to come from the CPT 2018 North American Regional Leaderboard, and these people will be the team captains for the 6 teams. That would imply that the first 6 members would be NuckleDu, Justin Wong, Punk, Idom, Toy, and Nephew. The remaining participants will come from both online qualifiers and from being voted in as fan favorites from the community. 6 from online, 6 from being voted in. Then from this pool of players that are available, the team captains will be able to draft who they want on their team. Currently, there are 2 seasons planned for this league, the first one running from April 2019 through May, with tournaments airing every Thursday, and then the second one will begin with the draft picks in August 2019 running through November. The Season 1 finale will take place in June, and the blog post mentions that the top 2 teams from Season 1 will roll into Season 2, and that after Season 2, the first North American Pro League champion will be crowned. The most unique and definitely the most controversial feature of the Pro League is that they're going to introduce a character ban feature, sort of similar to what you see in MOBAs. And from the blog post it says at the start of each match, teams will have the opportunity to ban one character for the entirety of the match. It also clarifies that each teammate must pick a unique character on their team, so no teams can have more than one character represented. Now, this one little section about the character ban is probably what's given the Street Fighter Pro League the most attention. Most people aren't excited or really paying attention to the league itself. They're just kind of hyper-focused on this character ban feature, and I am too, to an extent. In my opinion, it feels like the character ban feature is thrown in as an element of strategy in some kind of way to separate the Street Fighter Pro League from the singles division, but in many people's eyes, it's just a bad take or a bad way to generate attention for this event. Now, most people watching this video are probably going to be hardcore FGC enthusiasts who most likely understand that it takes a very long time to master a character, and most fighting game players in the CPT, while they may have some pocket characters or have switched mains over the years, people aren't heavily rotating through the cast and performing at a high level. Most people buckle down with 1 or 2 characters maxed, and that's who they represent in the tour, and that's where all their skills, time, and effort go into. So it already seems hypocritical off the bat where the people who are qualifying for this team tournament, at least 12 of them, are coming from the highest rank from the NA leaderboards and people who win an online qualifier. Most of these people are winning with 1 character, and then you go ahead and introduce a feature which can completely invalidate the reason why they entered and qualified for this event in the first place. It's clear this event is taking steps in order to appeal to a wider audience, but I'm just not exactly sure who. For you to understand why a character ban is significant, you have to be entrenched within the FGC enough to understand what characters certain players main, why it would be dramatic to ban Laura when Idom comes up to play, and why it forces him to step outside of his comfort zone and play a character that we have literally never seen him play in tournament since he's only solo mained Laura for the entirety of Street Fighter V. For you to understand the gravity of the situation of being forced to not play your main due to a character ban, you already have to be entrenched within the community. This is not going to really add any extra layer of drama to people who don't normally observe fighting game tournaments because they're not going to understand why Idom is synonymous with Laura, why Toy is synonymous with Bison. And if you're already a Street Fighter V fan, usually you want to see people play their best character. You want to see Idom play Laura and take her to a level that no other player on the planet has done before. You want to see Toy play as Bison because that's who he mains, and that's how you're going to get the excitement by seeing the best possible high-level play. So if we take the hypothetical match of Team Idom versus Team Toy, with both Laura and Bison banned, the resulting match has a much lower chance of being engaging and exciting for both people who are within the FGC and people outside of it. For people who don't know Street Fighter, it's just going to look like another Street Fighter match. And for people who are well versed with Street Fighter V, we're generally looking for high-level gameplay. Instead, we're going to get 2 people forced to play outside of their comfort zone, play characters that they rarely, if ever, have played in a tournament setting, be put into a situation where they're unfamiliar and the resulting match is probably just going to be a sloppy mess. So I'm not sure who Capcom is trying to appeal to with this rule. I don't really think it's going to be easily understood to a casual audience or well received to a competitive audience. Even furthermore, I think it's a dangerous precedence to set from the developers of the game themselves, that banning characters is a legitimate way to run a competition. I mean, think about it, this message is coming directly from the developers of the franchise itself. They're saying it's okay to ban characters. It's okay to ban that character that you're having trouble fighting against. It's okay to ban the character that your opponent who always beats you mains. It just sets the tone that it's okay to avoid your problem matchups. It's okay to just run away from problems because you just have a character ban. You have a free out to force your opponent to play another character. One of the biggest problems with fighting games for newcomers is that they tend to blame everything but themselves for their loss. I mean, it's just a natural reaction when people start picking up fighters. The genre is not popular due in large part to the fact that the games are difficult and you get your ass beat and it's your own fault. Giving this inch is a good way to give a mile to the greater cultural perception that we can blame outside sources for a loss rather than taking responsibility for them. I can definitely see situations and a time and a place for such a rule to make things more exciting and mix things up, but I just tread with caution that this might have a trickle-down effect, that eventually we might enter singles tournaments where two players get to choose who they ban before the tournament set begins. I am being a bit hyperbolic here, but it's not totally unfounded. Viscount has a pretty famous Twitter thread where he mentions that he was approached back in like 2004 or something like that to have MVC2 as a game featured in MLG, but they were hard set on banning characters, banning Cable, banning Sentinel, banning the characters that make that franchise loved and make the game what it is today. Because he tried to explain that banning characters is something you don't do in a fighting game like that, MLG lost interest and did not set up the tournaments for MVC2. There has been repeatedly a pattern of major corporations who have the power to promote esports misunderstanding the audience and implementing rules that don't necessarily reflect what the community wants. So I definitely think concerns are valid when it comes to developers implementing these sorts of rules in their events, because you have to be careful about where the culture goes unless you want to see this sort of thing occur more often and maybe even be the standard format. I think it also sets the message that if you ban characters and you don't know how to play another character at that same level, you're playing the game wrong. It's pretty much a slap in the face of solo main character specialists who put all their time and effort into mastering a single character within the game. This is not everybody's playstyle, of course. Punk plays pretty much the entire cast at a high level. Smug recently added G to his arsenal and kind of dual mains Balrog and G, and Justin Wong has switched from Karen to Minot, so he can definitely play both of those characters. But not everybody takes this path, and it's pretty much implying that unless you have played multiple characters at high level, you are a lesser player because of this. If you're a specialist low-tier hero, you're pretty much invalidated by this format. If you're a solo Geef main, well, say goodbye to Geef during your tournament set. Now, this is definitely a knee-jerk reaction, and I do see that it could possibly be a pretty fun event if executed appropriately. If you have players with a large pool of characters under their belt, it could be pretty fun to see which ones they choose to ban and how that affects how the team tournament plays out. However, I overall view this as a misstep from Capcom not understanding their own audience or how to grow their own reach within the esports sphere. Overall though, I hope the event turns out well, and maybe the character ban rule will actually add that extra layer of drama that gets people interested in Street Fighter V. This is especially important considering the lack of updates and news we've received from Capcom recently regarding the future of Street Fighter V, CPT 2019, and Season 4 as a whole. And overall, I'm just happy to see Capcom continue to support Street Fighter. I don't agree with a lot of the implementation and rule choices that they have, but they are actually showing interest in putting out events for us to enjoy. And that's it. Those are my thoughts on the Street Fighter Pro League announcement and this character ban rule. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.